How's it going, fam? It's Erica with Not Your Average EDC, and today we are going to nerd out on knives, specifically the Chris Reeve 21 versus 31 saga. We are going to talk about that in depth today. I'm really excited about this. We just woke up, we have bedhead, we look like shit, Nugget is still asleep, and I am so excited to do this video for you guys today. I've been wanting to do this, but I got a little bit of inspiration this morning from Randy Johnson. He just made a video, and he touched on this subject real quick, so I want to put my 2 cents in, because, you know, I love doing that. So, we just had coffee, we're waking up here. As you guys know, I posted a video previous to this one where I went through my folding knife collection and basically picked a one-and-done knife that I would choose if I had to pick only one folder for the rest of my life. And it happened to be the Chris Reeve Small Sebenza 31. If you want details on that, just watch the video, but I kind of went over why I chose that. So this is a follow-up to that, and I think this is going to be really intriguing. So, I have a 21 here, a small 21 that I have had for many, many years. Nice fat bevel on it, laid it back to 15 degrees per side. Really beat up, but in beautiful condition, because these tools are meant to be used. And then I have two 31s. So I have one with the micarta inlays in S45, and I have one with double lugs and a polished blade also in S45. I said S45 for this one, right? I didn't say 35. These are both 45. The 21 is 35. We're still waking up, so I might fuck things up a little bit here. Both of the new ones are in 45. No Magna Cut yet. Okay, so in Randy Johnson's video, which go subscribe to his channel if you're not, he has just some of the best content ever. He's got some really good stuff. He made a comment in his video saying that he does not believe that the quality and the feel of the 31 is the same as the 21, and he seems to prefer the feel, the quality, everything of the 21. And I have been one of those people that has continuously said that. I get ridiculed constantly for saying that I still like the 21 better than the 31. I really don't think my mind is going to change. If I was able to vote on bringing the 21 configuration back and getting rid of the 31, I would be one of those people saying bring the 21 back. And people think I'm an idiot for that. That's fine. But we're going to go over today why I think the 21 is better and why I feel that the 31, even if you get a flawless one, it still feels different in quality compared to the 21. So this is going to be a lot of nerd talk and some really weird like philosophy stuff, and I hope you guys enjoy it, but we're about to like nerd the fuck out, okay? Which I don't normally do. So, disclaimer, I use my knives. I use them a lot, and I have a lot of videos of me really using and abusing my Sebenzas specifically. I think they're meant to be used. The name Sebenza means work, and I have plenty of videos of me cutting through bags of concrete with these, or quickcrete, I should say. I have a video of me skinning and processing a wild hare with this knife. With this 31, I have videos of me doing construction work with it and using it as a scraper and a pry bar and stuff. So these get used and abused, very much so. So coming from a point of usage, I have noticed a lot of things about these knives. I don't just sit around and stare at them. I actually use them, and I have noticed some interesting points. So with my first 31, when I got this right out of the box, and all of this is recorded on the channel, by the way, go check out the Use Your Shit playlist and my reviews. Right out of the box, this knife had two very interesting qualities that I was not a fan of. Number one, the pocket clip, which I have now removed, would slide onto the lock bar if I gripped the knife too hard. I have talked to Tim on the phone about this. We text. I've talked to Tim on the phone many times where I would classify it as friends. And he said that that should not be happening, and I could absolutely send it in for warranty and get a new clip, because clearly the one that I had was not fitting correctly. I just put my filler tab in there instead. It's just what I'm doing right now. I actually like carrying this without a pocket clip, but it was indeed faulty. The clip did not fit correctly into here, and it would slide onto the lock bar, which was super annoying. The other issue I had with it was that when you opened it, which it still does, it has a little bit of up and down play, okay? And I have a video recording that, but basically the blade moves up and down a hair. And my 21, Tim told me that all of the 21s do that as well. Mine doesn't. Like, sorry, Tim, if you're watching this, my 21 does not move up and down. I know that you think it does. It doesn't. My 31 does, and I understand it's the ceramic interface. I get it. I get that it breaks in. And you know, the up and down blade play does not bother me. It's just something I noticed that my 21 does not have, and my 21 does not have the issue of the pocket clip either, okay? And I paid, at the time, $475 for this from eknives.com. And I just felt that for $475, the clip should have been fit correctly, and that the blade should not move up and down. Now, a lot of people were saying that there's moved up and down, and that it's just what happens until that lock bar, that ceramic ball kind of like starts building a track on the blade. However, I have continuously said I find it a little odd that you can send this in for warranty to get the up and down movement remedied, and then it won't be there. Okay, so I find that a little odd that it's supposed to happen. However, if you send this in for warranty and you say you don't like that up and down movement, they will remedy that, and it won't do that anymore. Okay, so I have always found that a little odd. But moving forward, using this, testing it, all that good stuff, it did very, very well. Those two issues don't bother me, because nothing really bothers me. It's just stuff that I noticed, and I know that other people may not want to spend $475, which is probably now $525 for this model, I would figure, with the price increase. I feel that for that amount of money, maybe the clip really should have just been fit correctly, and maybe the movement of that blade rocking, people might not like that, okay? So, because I had issues with this, I want to continue studying these knives because I think they're some of the best knives ever made. I am in love with the 21, and I have continuously been chasing that same... The same presence that the 21 brings, and the same experience that it gives me. I've been chasing that because I am in love with this knife, okay? So, I got some money for my birthday at one point from my mom, and I picked up this small Sebenza 31 double lug polish blade, all the bells and whistles. Okay, so this comes in, and the reason I went with this particular model is just because I think this is the cleanest looking Sebenza available right now. I like the symmetry that the double lug brings, and I like that polished blade. I like how that looks, and I think this is the cleanest looking Sebenza for me. Sorry, there's some lint in here. This is the cleanest looking Sebenza for me. I'm really trying to replicate that clean, elegant look that the 21 brings, okay? And trying to debunk why this was so faulty. And Nicole's inlay one was faulty as well. There's videos on that, okay? So we got two faulty small Sebenza 31s with inlays. So then I grabbed this, okay? Now, this does not have the pocket clip issue that my other 31 does. It does not. So this clip stays where it's supposed to. Sturdy, great. Fitted perfectly. I think the blade looks very clean. And if I go to see if there's any movement, there is absolutely not. There is zero, absolutely zero. I can't even make this rock like my other 31. So absolutely solid lockup, no up and down blade play whatsoever, okay? Interesting if it's supposed to have that, because this one doesn't and this one does, right? A little weird. So, this is flawless. Grind lines, a little uneven, especially near the tip. So that's another thing that I really liked about my 21 was that the grind lines were perfect. Granted, I put a 15 DPS edge on there, so it's got a really fat bevel, but that was on purpose, okay? But when this arrived, way back in the day, flawless edge bevels. This one, toward the tip, very skinny, and then the rest of the bevel is thicker, but not by a large amount, okay? So just a little bit of nitpicking there. But again, for $500 plus, should the edge bevel be more even? In my opinion, yes. But it's really not that bad, and that genuinely doesn't bother me at all. It's not like the Spyderco's where it's just ugly. Bro, the Spyderco edge bevels are horrendous and just awful sometimes. Oh, that's a whole other video. When they're that bad, that drives me fucking nutty because I have to reprofile the edge when they're that bad. This is absolutely fine. This is just a little bit of thinning near the tip. Really nothing too bad though, okay? So this knife, from my use so far and from what I have observed from it, this knife is absolutely perfect, okay? It's perfect. So, what does that mean? What does that mean in terms of the quality that Chris Reeve is putting out now? What does it mean for us that are trying to chase that experience that the 21 brought, right? What does this all mean? Well, here's something that I noticed about the inlay models, and this is something that I have really been rolling around in my head, and I'm wondering if anyone else feels the same way. So, first off, the 31 models with the inlays seem to be the ones that occasionally have a little bit of trouble. So Nicole's model, the exact same one as this, had the same blade play issue, and she couldn't get her pivot screw out because it was literally stuck in there. We had to send it in for warranty, and it was just like, it had been cranked in there so hard, which I don't know how that happens because their pressure guns are set to a specific torque. I don't understand why that was stuck in there, but it was. But the inlay models seem to have a little more trouble quality-wise than the plain Jane ones, okay? That's the first thing I've noticed. And that's also in talking to other people that have the inlay models. They sometimes just seem to be a little more finicky than the regular ones. Not sure why. Second thing is, I have noticed in watching videos of other people that have the inlay model that they're in love with it at first, especially because of the inlays, but then throughout time something seems to change, and this particular model with the inlay seems to not be doing it for a lot of people after. This is my theory on why. Number one, when we are chasing the Chris Reeve train down the tracks and the Sebenza, 99% of us are looking for perfection because that's what the 21 brought to the table, and that is like the holy grail for most people, and it is an iconic knife that brings so many aspects into the knife community that no other knife ever has. The Reeve integral lock was the first frame lock ever. The creation of S35 was from Chris Reeve working with Crucible. There are so many aspects, even the finishing aspects of tumbling and stuff, that Chris Reeve brought to the table first. Okay? So all of these firsts, all of these out-of-this-world aspects, that's what the 21 brought. That's what we're continuously chasing with the 31, is we want perfection and we want that experience of specialty. Now, a lot of people, in my opinion, get the 31 with the inlays because they're really chasing specialty. So these inlays The inlays used to be like 2 strips of micarta. Now it's one solid piece, which is really aesthetically pleasing to the eye, and it feels good in hand. And this screams the specialty of Chris Reeve, but exotic because we have those inlays. And everyone loves micarta, and everyone loves the inlays, right? It looks good. At first glance, it looks good and it feels good. And we want that little extra touch. It's not as boring. It's not as boring as this for some people, right? So everyone gets the micarta inlay model. However, the slight flaws that this execution brings on occasion, in addition to it not being perfect, makes a lot of people flip them on the market, and they don't like it as much. And they don't know why they don't, but they just fall out of love with it, with the micarta inlay version specifically. And the reason being is we want perfection, and the micarta doesn't bring it. Is it intriguing at first? Is it cool? Is it different? Yes. And that's what we like. But it throws our brains off after a while because the micarta becomes almost an eyesore. We don't actually like that transition of materials anymore. We don't like that it's not perfect, that it doesn't flow. We end up not liking it. And it looks, after a little while, it just looks not Chris Reeve anymore. It just looks a little, I'm not going to say cheap because that's not the right word, but it's not actually perfect. And we end up not liking it as much, okay? Because although the 21 is boring as fuck, it's perfect in terms of use, execution, and aesthetics. There are no transitions. There are no transitions. There are no inlays. There's no nothing. It's just a flow of perfection. And this right here is the flagship of Chris Reeve. When you think of Chris Reeve knives, you think of this. A lot of people, if you talk about Chris Reeve knives, people do not tend to think of the inlay version as the flagship. They don't view it as the mascot of the company. Most of us are picturing this. We are picturing plain blasted titanium with a stone-washed blade. That's what we're viewing in our heads when we think Chris Reeve. And even that little blue stud right there. Okay? That's what comes to mind. And I have really noticed that a ton of people chase the inlay 31s thinking it's gonna do it for them. Thinking they're gonna love it. Thinking that this is gonna be the one and done. That it's even better because it has micarta inlays. And it's not. Because our human brains, which seem to be so faulty, we end up not liking those inlays after a little while. It just doesn't feel as sturdy almost. We start to convince ourselves that the inlays look a little crafty, right? It makes the knife almost look not as rugged and pristine and clean cut. Not as gentlemanly as this. Right? Look at this. Which one looks more elegant and clean cut and more of a gentleman's piece? Seriously, which one? For me, it's the clean one. For me, it's the plain Jane original looking Sebenza. This is cleaner. The lines look better. The presentation, even if this was dirty and beat to shit like my 21, I still think that this presentation of the Sebenza looks cleaner and better and more rugged and more durable than the inlay one. I just think it flows better. Now, that does not mean that I don't love my micarta one. Oh my goodness. I've been through so much with this. I literally have a video of me skinning a fucking rabbit with this. And, like, being on a ladder at work at my old job and, like, cleaning crevices out of a ceiling with it and using it as a pry tool. I love this thing. But that inlay for me now is not something I chase anymore. I don't want any more Sebenzas with an inlay. One is enough for me. I feel that if I did not have an inlay model in my collection, I would be chasing it. But one is enough for me. However, if I could have more clean, plain Jane Sebenzas, I would. I want to get the Insingo blade in Magna Cut on a plain Jane Sebenza. No inlays this time. Again, I like this cleaner look now. But this, to me, in hand, everything about it feels more durable and perfect than the micarta version. And I think that may be the key for some people as to why they cannot fall in love with their 31, because everyone has the inlay model. They keep releasing them. I think Knife Center just got some exclusives with beautiful olive drab micarta inlay with gold studs. That's a looker. But as gorgeous as it is at first, and we want it because it's exclusive and fancy, I guarantee you most people that buy that are going to flip it within at least 6 months and throw it up on eBay or Reddit or Instagram for sale. Because number one, it's exclusive, so they're not going to want to use it. And it's like $700 just sitting in a case that we bought on an impulse because it's pretty. But again, that interruption, you're looking at this beautiful blade and then your eyes get interrupted by that inlay. And at first it's eye catching and then it transitions to an eye sore. So we're going to start chasing those clean cut ones again. Those flagship, perfection, elegant, useful pocket jewelry models. The clean, plain Jane 31. That's going to get the chase again. And that's why we just can't fall in love with our 31s that have inlays, because this is what we think of when we think Chris Reeve. This is what we're chasing. You can't get those snail trails when you have an inlay in the way. Isn't this what we're looking for? If we actually use and carry our tools, that lightning bolt-looking snail trail pattern that just continues to grow with the patina, with the use. Isn't that what we want? If we're going to pay that much money for a thick slab of titanium, right? We're not looking for it to be interrupted and covered up with an inlay. We can't work with that. That's just going to get darker from oils in our hands. But you don't look, we can't see our work. We can't see our interruptions really. Just on the frame. I have a little more wiggle room with mine because I have no pocket clip there, so I've got a little bit of a snail trail action back there. But, especially on the front, that's not a blank canvas for me. That's not a blank canvas for me to create an heirloom tool with my markings on it. It's already been painted. You know? It's already telling me what to do. So, that's why I think people are having issues with the 31s. Seriously, I think everyone buys an inlay model on a whim thinking that this is actually better than the plain Jane. It's more exciting. It's more aesthetically pleasing. I think people believe that they're going to like the inlay model way better because it's the latest and greatest and the newest and coolest. But I think what we really actually want is this. Perfection. That's what I think we're chasing in the Sebenza, is the perfection, and that's what you get with the plain Jane model, especially with the silver lugs. Some people like that this is, flagship with the blue stud, but it seems like we are evolving to just not want the blue added in because this is stunning. This is the Mila Kunis of the knife world. This is even more exciting than taking your mom to dinner next week. As boring as it is, I guarantee you will fall in love with it over time, as opposed to being in love with it at first sight. Like, this is love at first sight, and then you get bored. right? This is the opposite. This you get, you're almost wondering why you spent so much money. It's boring, it's plain, it's not exciting, but remember, it's a blank canvas. Give yourself some time to create and paint on it. Give yourself time. Don't sell it. Just buy the plain Jane one. Give yourself some time to do a little bit of artwork on it. And I guarantee you will fall in love with this over time, and you won't regret this purchase, and you may regret this one, okay? That is an absolute, complete, nerdy iteration of why I think we're having trouble with the Sebenza train lately. Like I said, you know, my 21 is absolutely flawless, perfect, rugged, durable, lockup is solid and everything. And I just love how it feels opening and closing. Everything about this is perfect. And I really do believe that in use, in time, this is going to be right up there with it. I really think I'm going to repaint that entire canvas with this one. Because I think it has the capability of doing that and taking the place of the 21. I still use this one, especially I'm going to get that Magna Cut blade put in there this year. But I do think that in terms of being modern, this can do exactly what the 21 did and does. I really do think it can do it just because it's clean cut. And it seems to have better quality than my inlay one. So, like I said, that's a little bit of knife nerd talk for you guys this morning. I might be out of my mind in this video. You may think I am crazy, which I am. But I don't know if you guys know this, I am very much into philosophy and, more importantly, psychology. I think the human brain is the most interesting thing in the world. And I genuinely do think that we do think that deeply about things and we don't even realize. I genuinely do think that this micarta inlay becomes crafty looking to people and they don't even realize that. They don't understand why this knife isn't doing it for them like this one did. But I do think this is a good theory. So I might be out of my mind. I might be looking at this a little too deep and a little too silly. Let me know down in the comments what you think of this video and if you agree and if you have had the same experience with falling out of love with your micarta version and wanting that Chris Reeve experience again and just not knowing how to get to it. Let me know what you think of this. I love you guys so much. Go use your shit. I will see you on the next video. Take care.